This Week in Startups is brought to you by ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Twist listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free. Go to ziprecruiter.com/twist. Campaign Monitor, email marketing platform used by more than 250,000 businesses worldwide. Try Campaign Monitor for free at campaignmonitor.com/twist. Listeners who sign up and become a customer receive a free t-shirt. And PayPal. When it comes to growing your business, PayPal is your payments partner for today and tomorrow. Visit paypal.com/growth to sign up for free and set up a business account today.
I met our next guest, over a decade ago, and he invited me to Boulder, where I had never been, and they said, I'm starting an incubator, and it's, I said, oh, like Bill Gross? Bill Gross, like Idea Lab? He's like, it's a little bit different, but yeah, I guess, sort of. We don't come up with the ideas. We find great people, we invest in them. That was 11 years ago. I went to see the second cohort. And since that time, he's taken some companies public. In fact, the first incubator company post the dot-com bubble bursting to go public, I believe, was SendGrid, which I believe was, I saw in that either the first or second class, maybe the third, for Techstars. So with that, let me invite my good friend and the most prolific angel and early stage investor today, the literal most prolific early stage investor in the world today, Mr. David Cohen.
Thank you. Did you make up that entire story?
I was filibustering.
Yeah.
They teach you that at MC school.
Yeah.
A little filibuster. You got to have some filibuster in you.
It's good.
Case.
You were probably also wondering where was David because I was hiding.
I was exactly what I was doing. I was trying to figure out where you were and if you were going to show up. But you're here.
Thanks for having me back. This is awesome.
It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
It's been a while since we've talked. Since that time, was SendGrid the first, second, third class? My memory is blurry now because it's 10 years ago.
SendGrid 2009, so it's the third.
Third class.
Yeah.
They went public.
Yeah, into last year.
And so, they're worth a couple of billion?
Well,
billion?
down 6% today.
Oh,
If you're watching
just for people watching the stock market, it's down 4% today. It's up 20% every year for the last 3, so don't worry about it.
Don't freak out.
Don't freak out, everybody. It's going to be okay. But there's a multi-billion-dollar company, right? Or billion?
I think today about $1.5 billion.
Okay. So you would originally own 5-6% of these companies, if I remember correctly, get a little dilution in there. But this got to be a $30-40 million win for you guys.
Yeah, it's a good win. We were able to keep investing along the way, which I think is often the key, right? You get into these things, and on some level, it's sort of lucky to be around them. And the trick is, how do I keep investing in the ones that do well, and do I have the capital to do that, right? So
right.
We were fortunate to, go through all the different rounds.
This is what I think is truly meaningful when we look at the footprint now. People don't realize this.
No.
But you are doing many more investments a year than even Y Combinator.
I think so at this point.
460 companies, 46 programs in 30 cities and 13 countries. This is yearly.
Yep, every year. And it's growing about 30% a year. So, we're still trying to keep up that pace. And what we are is this worldwide network to help entrepreneurs succeed. So we have to be all over the world. And we have community activity in 120 countries now. But this investment activity, right, in 13 countries, 30 or so cities. And so it's almost to 500 companies every year that we're funding at that accelerator level. And
do you worry about quality when you hit this level of quantity?
Absolutely. We have some core values at Techstars. One of them is quality before quantity. We used to actually call it something different, which maybe is interesting here. We'd say, quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity.
But we changed it to start saying, before quantity. Quantity is important too, right? We all want to scale and grow, but we don't want to do it in a way that doesn't deliver quality. So, we invested, before we did this, a ton of money in our operations, the sort of playbook for what we do, and really proceduralizing things, creating a lot of infrastructure. We have a nice scale dynamic for this because every time we add a flag somewhere, sort of scales with the people. So when we have a new accelerator, we need new people, but by definition, we also have new revenue and new opportunity. So we're able to scale it as we get the opportunity. We've probably by now could be at 100 or 200 programs, but we were slowed down a little bit by really wanting to operationalize this and make sure everything we do is high quality.
Are you hiring? Well, if you're listening to this podcast, This Week in Startups, I'm going to guess you have a startup. And if you have a startup, you're hiring. But posting to job sites results in you waiting and waiting for the right people to see it. Well, you want to use ZipRecruiter, which is a platform that finds the right job candidate for you. It learns what you're looking for, it identifies people with the right experience, and it invites them to apply for your job. These invitations have revolutionized how you will find your next hire. 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate, wait for it, in just one day. How does that sound, huh? 80% of you right now who are listening, you could have that amazing quality candidate in just a day. And ZipRecruiter even spotlights the strongest applications you receive, so you never miss a great match when you're sorting through all that incredible talent. The right candidates are out there, and ZipRecruiter is how you find them. So here is your call to action. I want you to go to ZipRecruiter.com/twist. That's ZipRecruiter.com/twist. It is the smartest way to hire. Go ahead and go to ZipRecruiter.com/twist and get started finding the strongest candidates that'll be the game changers for your business. You want to sleep well at night? You want your business to grow? You got to use ZipRecruiter.com/twist and get those great candidates coming in for job interviews ASAP. You need them yesterday. So get to work. And ZipRecruiter is going to be your partner in this. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/twist. Okay, let's get back to this amazing episode. 11 years ago, when you and I met, I don't even remember how we met.
I just remember milkshakes and burgers, vodka milkshakes somewhere. Does that ring a bell?
I don't know.
New York?
Milkshakes,
Vodka milkshake.
I don't remember exactly, yeah. But anyway, we met.
That seems right.
Seems right. It seems directionally correct. Yeah. And at that time, when you were investing, I wasn't an investor yet, it was very hard to find companies or angel investors at that time. Tell me about those first three classes and how hard it was to get companies to actually sign up for this in 2009?
Well, so 2007.
2007.
And I'm sitting in Boulder, Colorado, which is where I live. If any Colorado fans, you can shout if you want. So, if you know Boulder, 120,000 people in the whole city. We call it a city.
Yeah.
It's near Denver and all that, but we advertised this first program. Back then, the word accelerator didn't exist. You have Brad Feld to blame for that word, by the way. And we were just advertising this mentorship-driven program, right? We just called it a program. So we got 100 or so mentors together in Boulder and said, who wants to come hang out with us for the summer and be surrounded by these people that could maybe impact your business? And the trick was, if you looked around the community in Boulder at that time, you probably had 5, maybe 10 angel investors. A lot of them weren't really doing deals. They were,
Yeah, if a friend asked them for money, they put 10K in or 25K.
Yeah, or they're going to events and sipping champagne and watching pitches, but not actually investing, right? So we had to spark that activity. And that was, I say, was the hardest part, those first 30 companies. And SendGrid was one of them.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to fund the company.
Crazy.
Right? We had lived with them for 3 months, and we're like, we were able to buy a huge chunk of the company for under $1 million because it wasn't hot. And this is when I started to realize, wow, there's great companies everywhere in the world, and you just got to get to them first.
Yeah, and getting that first bite of the apple. It seems like the business we're in, collectively, is the most work of anybody, and it takes the longest to get paid.
That's right.
So why
We're in it the
do
longest.
it? We're in it the longest, right?
Yeah.
If you come in and you do a Series A, we've already done 2 years of work. If you come in and doing the Series B, we've done 3 or 4. And if you're one of these people who just puts $1 billion in right before the IPO, we've done 7 or 8 years of work.
Yeah, I mean, the people at the end are going to get their 2x on their billion, which is awesome.
Yeah.
It takes money to make money, but we're going to get our 1,000x on our 100K, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
And also, we have way more fun than they do.
It's much more fun in the
way
early
more
stage. What do you
fun.
love about the early stage?
I mean, everything's broken. Nobody knows what's going on. You walk in the room and there's like, I don't know, it's not working. I mean,
So generalized chaos is what attracted you to this.
I mean, that's like mental exercise is like amazing, right? You walk in, it's like, yeah, you're right. This is totally screwed up. I have no idea how this is ever going to work, but yeah, let's figure it out, right? And a lot of them don't work, but the ones that do, I mean, nothing is more fun than helping them figure that out. I mean, they're the ones that do it, obviously, but giving them that one mentor that changes their world, or that one investor that comes along, or that one customer that helps them figure it out is exhilarating, right?
And just putting up the community program, what is the community program that you guys are running? How does this work?
So anybody here ever been to a startup weekend? Is that a thing you've been to? So a few people. Startup weekends, we run them in 120 countries every year. We run 1,000 of them a year. There are 7,000 volunteers that actually execute these programs. They're 3-day experiences of entrepreneurship. So if you've been hanging out in a cubicle for the last 5 years, coding away or doing whatever you're doing, you get to come to this event and experience what would it be like to build a company. So I have an idea, or I want to join an idea. You actually create a company around that. You pitch it. You sort of see if people like your idea. And about 20% of those things actually go on to become companies, right? So they're playing with them, but 20% of them, people actually do it at the end. And so they've met their network, maybe they met their co-founder, and they just get inspired about what entrepreneurship is. Because, with these accelerator programs, there's a contagious energy, right, around them. And so if you've never experienced that, you come to that, all of a sudden you're like, I want to be an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
I want to go start a company or join a company. And so it gets people into it. We do this all over the world. About 100,000 plus people go through a startup weekend every year in 1,000 different events. And, each of them has a winner, where they get some prizes that we help organize from, service providers, hosting credits, whatever. And then we're obviously looking at what comes out of that for our own deal flow.
And that's by definition as proprietary deal flow gets. It's 72-hour deal flow.
Yeah, and more importantly, it's developing these ecosystems, right, and tying them together, right? We're able to show up for these things. We have regional management of all this activity. The volunteers are a big part of our network. If we have a company that wants to go somewhere, there's people there they know. So, it's deal flow, but I think also it's helping build these startup communities around the world, which I think is more and more, bearing fruit today.
Yeah, you were ahead of the curve on that one as well. I think you always publish techstars.com/results or portfolio or something.
Yeah,
companies.
It might be results also, but companies. So, we list, there's 1,800 or so companies we've invested in now. We list all of them, and it's getting quite large. We need ways to filter it and stuff, but you can look at it by, class number, geography, whatever. And the idea is it's just total transparency on how it's gone. And I think it's unique. I don't think there's 2 things we do that are really unique. That's one of them, show all the data. The other is this equity back guarantee that we still offer. I'm still waiting for people to do that.
You told me this one. It was crazy.
It.
You basically.
It is crazy.
I mean, you must have had LPs be like, why would you do something crazy like this?
They thought that. And then, occasionally actually it happens. But usually people that are doing the equity back guarantee, they're taking, at the end of the accelerator program, if they didn't have a good experience, we say, well, we don't want to have equity in your company if you didn't have a good experience.
So just give us our money back, we'll give you equity back.
Yeah, if you want to do that, if we didn't add value, we don't want to have ownership in something we didn't add value to.
Right. It has happened.
It does happen. Yeah. So I think the primary reason it's happened is of the accelerator programs, which are on the previous slide. A lot of them, we run accelerators in partnership with, big companies, right? Amazon. So if you see the Amazon Alexa accelerator, that's us. Or if you see the Barclays FinTech accelerator, right? Yeah. We're actually running that. Ford, and those are verticalized, like mobility or FinTech, segments. A lot of the reason is early on, we weren't doing a good job of making sure they understood that there's no guaranteed deal on the other end of that with that big company. And a few of them would say, well, that was the only reason I came. And so
I wanted to get Ford or Disney, whoever, to give me money, and they didn't.
And if they didn't, probably there's a reason they didn't.
Yeah.
Right? But also, we shouldn't set that expectation.
Yeah, so that becomes this great corrective mechanism for you. You get this hard piece of feedback.
Yep.
They want their equity back, and they give you money. But has anybody ever done it in a way that you would consider like being a shark and saying, you know what? My company's appreciated in value. You're a big part of that. but I can arbitrage this and give you your money back and get my equity back?
Yes, it does happen. Usually they think they're now a big company. Or they think, you have that first little thing that happens to you as a startup and you're like, I am, on
That's
fire,
it.
right?
Here we go.
And it's done. I'm a $100 billion thing, right? Just because you have this little uptick. And there are a few people that have said, you know what, I want to trade some of that equity back or all of it. We let them do any amount of it. And they're just bad dealers, bad actors. And frankly, I would rather know that today. Right, than keep investing in that company and have that experience as an investor. So these are all things you learn as you're scaling it, and you sort of put in place. One of the reasons we put the equity back guarantee in place was people were at the end saying, "Wow, that was really worth it," and the beginning questioning whether or not it would be. And so I just took away the concern. Right.
Right. It's like taking away an objection. If it doesn't work,
yeah, no worries. Right?
Yeah. I am obsessed with email. You know this because I'm probably emailing you now about the podcast. We have a This Week in Startups podcast list, and we send all of our listeners updates on the podcast. Who's been on the show, maybe a live episode's coming up, live stream is firing off. And we constantly get new people finding out about our podcast. And so we use Campaign Monitor, which is an easy-to-use email marketing platform. And it comes with incredible templates, and it's got a drag and drop editor, which I'm about to show you here, as well as 24/7 customer support and over 250,000 businesses using them all over the world. But it's so quick to set up something called email automation. What is email automation? This is one of the greatest tools you can add to your startup or business's success. And in the example I'm going to show you, we set up an automation. I'll hit play here and I'll sportscast it. And you see us putting in the logo and putting in some spacing, adding images. And we're telling you about all the different episodes on This Week in Startups. We're seeing a preview on an iPhone. And also, we say, hey, if somebody signs up for the list, wait 15 minutes and then send them this best of email with shows that we've done in the past. And then it says, wait 3 days and then send them another best of show. In other words, if you sign up for our mailing list and you just found out about This Week in Startups, we can set this drip campaign to give you drip, 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 a couple of emails letting you know about our events, about past episodes. And people love this kind of stuff. It re-engages people. It's not enough to just collect the email. You have to think about the emails you're sending to people. You have to make them look beautiful. You have to have a clear call to action. And here is your clear call to action right now. I want you to try Campaign Monitor for free at campaignmonitor.com/twist. Listeners who sign up and become a customer will receive a free t-shirt. You can really change the course of your business by using campaignmonitor.com. I love the product. My team loves the product. And let me tell you something. Doing this automation used to be something that you had to work with a developer to do. That's why so few companies did it. Now Campaign Monitor has made it quick and easy, and they have a huge library of examples. So go there right now, campaignmonitor.com/twist. Okay, let's get back to this amazing episode. How do you look at Y Combinator, which I guess is your closest contemporary, doing 2 batches of 150 each, 300. It's become quite a factory. You've taken a different approach. You keep it to 10, I believe?
Yeah, 10 companies per location. It's just a different model, and we're big fans of what they do as well.
You're not a big fan of doing 150 at once, though, are you?
Well, I think I don't know how you meaningfully help them all, and we actually live with them for 3 months, right? We put them in a room, and they get a lot of value from each other.
So they co-work?
Yeah.
In some cases.
Yeah, for 3 months, right? And that's part of the magic, is that they really bond and do companies with each other. And at the end of the program, they actually have met each other, right? Things like that. So, I think it's just a different model. And I think it's informed by, one, the mission, which is this worldwide network, right, that we're trying to build to help entrepreneurs succeed. The other is the scale dynamic. It's just a different way to grow a business, right? They have a belief that there's a high concentration of startups that they want to invest in here, and that's their strategy. Our strategy is, hey, only 21% of venture capital money flows here. And by the way, a lot of that is from companies starting somewhere else and then moving here. So at the stage that we play, we want to hit the other 80% and not miss 4 out of 5 things that are happening in the world.
Which company that you invested in was the greatest comeback story of all time? A company you may have written off or didn't think or much of or didn't even monitor, and then all of a sudden they came back to you and like, hey, it worked?
Well, worked is a funny word because even if it feels like it's working today, is it really, right? Do you really get out of
Well, let's say revenue, follow-on funding from credible investors, and/or exits. Like, which one just overperformed? Is, I guess, a positive way
so
to say it.
far? Yeah, I mean,
Who's your overperformer that you're delighted with?
it's hard to pick one, but I remember the story of ClassPass is one to maybe think about, which is now here as well. Went through our New York program, and day 3 or 4 of the program, the founders were actually attacked. They were out in a convenience store and got maced in the face. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is done. They're sort of mentally out of it, and who could blame them, right? It was a sort of crazy incident. And
Was this a random act of violence in San
random.
Francisco?
No, it was in New York.
Oh.
Don't worry, it's safe here. This is in New York. And
I think statistically, New York is much safer than here.
Pyle and a team, like it was a struggle, right? And then eventually they started to get this market share, and the company goes through this transition metamorphosis. So it sort of came out of nowhere from my perspective. Who knows if it ends up, having the right outcome, but that's one that comes to mind. There's so many. The problem with this is there's too many stories to tell.
Right.
Thousands of companies, right?
Yeah. And here's a sampling of them. PillPack, they got just bought by Amazon,
Yeah.
is that right?
They just got bought by Amazon.
For $1 billion?
$1 billion cash.
A quick Billy?
What do I do with all my cash if I'm Amazon, I guess, is what they're thinking. But yeah, and that company was pretty clearly interesting from day one, right? It was a Boston company. They make a little pack of pills that are the exact moment you're supposed to take that. So your 9 a.m. pack versus your 3 p.m. or today versus tomorrow, so that you don't take the wrong things, which could be a problem. So it's
super clever idea. I remember they pitched me, and they pitched that Open Angel Forum in Boston back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was just like, is that a real business or just like a pill packing machine?
So TJ, right, sitting there saying, my dad does this for nursing homes. He has a machine that does this for nursing homes. I think consumers would want this. I mean, it was really that simple.
Isn't that amazing when you think about it? Like, it's in the line of business you're in, it's so easy to look at something as brain dead simple as that and say, well, that's just silly and obvious, and why would that be a big thing? Why did that become a big thing?
Well, I think, there's always market trend, right? So you're hitting someone like Amazon trying to compete with the CVS and the Walgreens of the world and hitting a different angle, right? And so there's value to the buyer in a moment in time, as well as the intrinsic value of the business.
Yeah. But consumers seem to love it.
It's an awesome product. I mean, I don't know if you take a bunch of pills like I do.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
You're younger than me.
I mean, you talking about Burning Man, or you talking about like...
No, I'm talking about just every day. Like when you wake up in the morning, take a bunch of pills.
No.
So I have
Definitely
these
not.
supplements, and then I have these, other pills that I have to take, just routine pills.
I got you.
Yeah. And if you're opening 6 bottles and whatever, and then your kid's like having breakfast, hey, can I have that? It's a vitamin. It's not a vitamin. Don't take it. Like it's, this is my set of pills for my
Super
time.
convenient, brain dead simple.
That's right.
Sphero's the other one. I remember that was in your, 4th or 5th class. I can't remember. Do you remember what class that was or year?
I think
it had to be 5-6 years ago.
I think they were 2010 or 11, and then they actually did Techstars twice.
I remember because I'd seen it, and I was like, well, that's interesting, but I don't know if that's a venture scale business. Sure enough, they wind up going to the Disney Accelerator.
And I'm still on the board today, and the company's doing great. But yeah, they went to the Disney program that we ran in LA. You know anything about LA?
Yeah, I was there for a little bit. It's great.
Good
I had
market.
a 10-year little diversion there.
And Disney really, sort of helped them. But, it's been an interesting ride, right? They had some huge Christmas seasons with their toy products. It's
BB-8.
Connected play, right?
Yeah.
And that's...
You must, since you're on the board, you could tell the story of Bob Iger seeing it and then bringing them to J.J. Abrams. The co-founder told it on my podcast. Maybe you could give us the abridged version.
So that story goes that, these are the kind of insights that just create massive scale quickly. Literally $100 million in sales, from zero in one holiday season because of this thing that happened, which is taking the time to network and have this random thing happen to you. So, they're in this Disney Accelerator, in walks Bob Iger, right, CEO, and says, hey, I got this new movie coming out, right? It's a new Star Wars movie. And there's this new character, this rolling ball, BB-8. And your little ball that you have there looks kind of like that. If you just put a floating head on it and painted it orange, like this could be kind of an incarnation of this character. And so as startups do, they went away and the next day they came back and they painted orange and they put a little head on it to look like BB-8. And
with a magnet, they figured it out. Yeah,
they just figured out how to do that. And, Iger was like, we couldn't figure that out. That's really cool. How'd you do that? And here's an IP license. And then magically overnight you have a huge success. So that's some of the kind of IP release and king making that can really help a startup scale quickly.
The negative take on what you were doing, I remember, with all these corporates back in the day when you first started turning over this card and doing it. I remember, I think Microsoft, Rackspace, Disney were some of the first, if my memory serves me correct.
Yeah.
Nike was, these companies, big companies, just steal ideas.
Yep.
And it's going to be a disaster for IP and all this other stuff. When did you do your first one? What have you learned since? And how do you look at it going forward?
First one was 2012 with Microsoft, which of course has now scaled up the Microsoft Accelerator around the world. We were sort of running the first ones for them. And, I think people had that fear. The trick is when we were scaling it, right, we weren't giving those things that the entrepreneurs should be afraid of, right? Like you don't really want those companies on your cap table that early, sort of strategic investors necessarily. You don't want them on your board. You don't want them having downstream optionality, rights to invest, right?
Yeah.
Rights.
And
to
the reason
acquire.
for that is they could stunt your growth and opportunity.
They could, but it's just like, who's going to buy something? Their competitor's not going to buy it if it makes them rich, right? And they have inside information.
Theoretically.
Yeah. So, it can limit your downstream opportunities. So what we do is we're the investor, and all that is behind the scenes with us. And we don't grant those kind of rights, right? So now we created this magic situation where you're getting all the benefit of these corporations giving first and mentoring and helping, but they don't have any rights to do anything unless they earn it, right? So Techstars is still your investor. And that's been a nice formula for us, and we've scaled that.
So when you graduate, if everybody opts in, they can invest more.
Well, the founders have to want it.
The founders have to want it.
So there's not rights to do it is the key.
Got it.
Yeah.
What do you think their motivation is? Do you think these big companies are just, confused by startups today, or they're just too big to, or they just have shit tons of money laying around and they want to play?
You just think they're bored? You think they're bored?
It seems to me like maybe the R&D, they see it as part of the R&D department, or maybe they see it as marketing for their platforms.
They all have different motivations, right?
Yeah,
so if you look at Amazon and Alexa as an example, right, what matters to them? Like,
apps.
Is some startup going to move the needle for the biggest company in the world? Not anytime soon. And so it's apps, right? It's ecosystem, right? They want the coolest stuff on their platforms first. They want to support it, be out there leaning into that innovation and helping it succeed, right? So that's very aligned with our mission.
Yeah.
Right? Others, someone like Ford, right? I mean, wow, Uber, I wish I would have had that in my accelerator, right? Like it would have been nice to be close to that, right?
Yeah.
Or Lyft or whichever, right? So knowing what's coming and being able to be friends with it instead of enemies with it is sort of the goal, right? Whether they invest or they buy it early or whatever the options are.
Yeah, and here are the corporate partners. I forgot to put that up there, but it's a wide variety of them. They're kept at arm's length, but they can do meaningful things for companies when
huge.
Managed
again,
correctly.
This sort of IP that they give them to go, that they're not monetizing, like the BB-8 example that you shared, right? Or, again, we work with Amazon. Amazon buys PillPack. That helps our whole portfolio, right? To have these relationships inside these companies. I think the key insight for us was in thinking about the worldwide network, we believe that these corporations were an important part of it, right? That startups actually do want to do business with these big companies, right? And so making those connections does matter for them.
If you're doing e-commerce online, if you're selling anything, you need PayPal for your startup. I know this because we use it ourselves. And PayPal is processing over 25 million payments a day. And they will help you scale to reach more and more people. I mean, there's 250 million shoppers across all these markets and platforms. All those shoppers love to use their PayPal account. And PayPal users, this is incredible, they convert 88% of the time. Why? It's so easy. It's so trusted. That's why. And They offer seller protection, which is readily available customer support and fraud tools that will make you get smarter with every transaction. And we are using it here for Shop This Week in Startups, our new store. And it's so easy to sign up. I'm showing you a video right now of CMO Presh signing up with his presh@launch.co email address. And when he signs up, he just quickly goes in there and he does PayPal Express checkout. You may have started using PayPal Express checkout yourself, because when the users pick a nice, beautiful shirt like this one, medium, navy, they see that beautiful trusted PayPal button. When they click on it, it's got all of their information preloaded, zip, zip, zip. All of a sudden, you're using PayPal and you're getting more shopping carts to the finish line. You do not want to lose people in that journey. So I want you to visit paypal.com/growth and set up a business account today for your startup. Again, it's totally free to sign up, and you just go to paypal.com/growth, and that PayPal button is so easy to get up and running, and it is going to make a dramatic effect on your income, on your results. Go ahead and visit once more, paypal.com/growth, and let the register ring. Okay, let's get back to this amazing episode. You clearly believe there's still an opportunity to build great companies, not this weird meme that's been spreading, maybe in the press, about the big companies, whether it's Facebook or Amazon or Google, are just so good at making product and so quick to copy or so quick to get in the game that it's killed the opportunity for startups. Is that true, not true, or somewhat true?
No, I think that's crazy. I mean, there's just tons of opportunity for startups, and you've heard the story of like half the Fortune 500 is gone every so many years, right? I mean, that's going to continue, right? These companies have to innovate; they know it, and a lot of them are going to be outside of the set of biggest companies in the world in 5 or 10 years, no matter what they do. But I think there's still white space every day for startups to go and create new things, and we're seeing that every day, and more of it's coming from more and more places in the world, which I think is a really good phenomenon.
What are your thoughts on the scale of these big companies? And we have regulators now really taking deep dives into Facebook, Amazon, Google, looking at what they're buying, look at how they're treating user data. Do you think these companies, the $1 trillion club, let's call it $500 billion to $1 trillion club, are they too powerful, and should America, and this is going to get a little personal, I'm not looking for the Techstars position paper here, but rather the David Cohen unprepared answer, the honest one, which is, do you think they should be regulated? Do you think they play unfair? Do you think they're getting monopolistic in their behavior? Do you think we need to reconsider the size of these companies? Or is it just great for America that Apple and Google and Facebook and Netflix and Amazon are all on our team?
Yeah, and more of them are on the other team, right? There's giant companies being built everywhere.
In China.
That's right. China's the big three, right? So you've got this dynamic everywhere. And in China, they never heard of a lot of these companies because they're not allowed to access them.
Right.
Right? Or maybe they've heard of it, but they just don't know what it is. So, yeah, I mean, I think every one of them has a different behavior pattern. I think, yes, there's some need for regulation, and that's happening. And I think that's good in a lot of cases. It just shocks me to watch, Zuckerberg up there testifying, how the ad platform works, and people going, oh, really?
It's quite surreal.
I had no idea that you were collecting this data. Like, you've been trading this data for 10 years to get this utility, and now you're somehow offended that they're going to show you an ad, right? That's how they make money. So I think some of it is misplaced outrage. We have a lot of that going on in the country, like sort of misunderstandings in general, I think.
I've been watching.
And I think this, like when he said, we don't sell your data, we just use it to show you something that could be helpful to you.
Right.
Right? Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be so pissed off at you, right?
Right.
So it's just interesting to watch how people are just now starting to understand the data these companies have, and they're thinking about the implications of that.
What do you think about Facebook's targeting of Snapchat for annihilation after they wouldn't sell?
Hey, there's no fun unless there's a dead body, right? I mean, you got to kill somebody.
Just thinking the same thing.
Yeah. You gotta go. I mean, that's what entrepreneurship is, right? Who's laying by the side of the road that I crushed like a bag of chips? under my foot, you know? No,
But we've never
they should
seen
be competing.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
But pixel by pixel stealing of
I'm not saying do it
innovations and stuff.
illegally, right? But I think like wanting to win that war is what they should do. That's innovation.
Copying's innovation?
No, again, not when you cross the line of doing something illegal.
Do you think their cribbing of stories was copying, or do you think it was innovation?
Yes.
Diplomatic. I know we have exits yet to come.
Yes.
We have to be. Who's the best acquirer? If you had to just, at this point, who's just doing it better than anybody? Who do you think's got it nailed? Or amongst?
Gosh. I mean, I think Google's always had a good strategy of get there early, bring the people in, and let them spin out and be in their orbit. I think they've always done that well.
Android, YouTube come to mind.
Yeah, I mean, just, okay, people come and go, but they stay in my world, and I'm sort of willing to buy something early. And I think that's what a lot of the big companies don't understand is sometimes it's going to seem like you're paying a crazy price, but with the leverage you can give that thing, it's worth it.
YouTube comes to mind specifically there. I mean,
that was nuts at the time, right? Just crazy.
$1.6 billion for a company with a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit hanging over them.
Yeah.
And now it's, what would YouTube be worth as a public company today with 1 billion users?
Like half of Google, or I don't know, something
250,
huge.
250
right?
billion.
Something huge.
Instagram be worth 250 billion.
Right, and so you see it as crazy, but like you realize with your distribution what you can do to that thing. And so, Facebook did a little, like I think the Instagram thing really smart, that was around $1 billion. Right?
Yeah, that would be a $250 billion company.
I mean, just, that's the strategy. I think if you're a big company, be active. And you're going to mess some up, but the ones that work are going to be.
How do you convince your founders to not sell out too early? How do you advise them?
Well, so you mentioned SendGrid, right? I mean, they had lots of offers along the way.
Bigger than their IPO price?
No.
So they did the right thing.
They did the right thing. And I mean, early on, we're literally talking tens of millions, right, was the exit offer. And, sometimes the founders want to do that because, you laugh at that when you're early on, but if you actually put $20 million on the table, they go, oh, that's like real money there.
Yeah, well, right? It's two founders and they own 80%.
And that's
life-changing
for them.
It's life-changing.
And I totally get it, right? It's not what the investors invested for, but it's at some point you have to consider that. So the answer is, you like to create a little bit of liquidity, for the founders in that scenario. What is it that you're trying to do here? Like make your life a little easier. You don't have to change their whole world, but you can let them send the kids to wherever they want to go to school, right?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that secondary market? Is there a point at which you feel like it works against the sort of spirit of startups? The Secret comes to mind. I guess they demanded if you wanted to do the Series A, you would have to put this money in. And I think...
from Uber, right? We're both in the early round of Uber. Like, you've been dealing with this secondary market forever, and it's the shadiest market. It's so shady. People are, they're literally like, hey, I'll, back a truck up on your lawn and dump $1 million there and no one will know, right? If you do the secondary deal with me. And it's like, that's not how I do business.
Right, off transaction books.
Right. It's just a very shady world.
Yeah.
And you have to be really careful with who you're dealing with. But you now see the big companies getting into it, right? And the larger funds getting into it.
Yeah, they're looking to find people to buy out. How do you decide that with Techstars today? I know that you've sold along the way with Uber.
Yeah.
How do you look at it today now that you're successful, you got a lot of cash in the bank, you've done well? Do you try to go long as much as you can?
Well, you try to keep some long. I think it's smart personally to take some money off the table when you get the opportunity, because the opportunity doesn't come along that often. And so when there's active markets like that and good partners, or the companies are doing buybacks, take the win, right? Give your investors, our limited partners a win, but still have a lot riding. So, you and I, we're still waiting on the IPO.
Yeah.
But I assume, sold along the way, somewhat.
You would be insane not to book an 8,000x win.
Yes, on some level.
On some level, it would be, insane.
And you know what? If the rest is a zero, that's okay. Like, it's done really well.
Yeah,
that's how I look at it.
Yeah, that would be the correct way to look at it. Hey, what do you think of all this cryptocurrency nonsense? I don't mean to lead the witness, but you and I have been in the startup game for a while. You see 2,000 ICOs raise a bunch of money for companies that would not be allowed to apply to Techstars and they raised 20, 50, 100 million based on a white paper. Does this make you absolutely insane like it makes me?
Yes, and you sit there. I mean, we've done 2 tests, right? Like we've been very slow about this. Like two companies that are doing infrastructure in this space, and we've done
Dip your toad.
Exactly, and it's a mess. One of them is wildly up, and the other one is like dead 3 minutes later. So half of these ICOs are gone within a year, right? Like actually just gone.
Never release a
The
product.
company doesn't ever do anything, and it just goes
The
away.
money's gone.
So
nobody knows where it is.
The runaway rate like that is much quicker than it happens much more often than with startups that are doing it this sort of old school way, I guess we'd call it. And I think
Like actually building products.
yeah, like having a release and letting users try it, things like that.
Writing up legal
Yeah,
documents.
signing things.
Preferred shares.
Yeah. So, but the news today, I saw some story today, right? Like there's more guidance now coming out from the SEC all the time. And everyone's like, oh, I thought we did it right, but we didn't do it right. It's just like watching the Facebook thing with Zuckerberg. Like you're just now realizing that is not going to work, right?
Yeah.
Like that crazy thing you did and you sold to random people something that's not a security, but is, the government's going to come down on you at some point.
It's going to be brutal, right?
Right? So that's happening now, and companies are folding and returning money and all that. So
they literally have to go. What I understood, what I like about what the SEC's done in this case is they're just like, well, here are the rules. They've been sitting here. These are the rules.
They were pretty clear.
The rules are clear. Like, just follow the rules. And they're like, but it's a utility. And it's like, but it doesn't exist in the world.
You called it like, it's a blue thing that I wear on my body over my shirt. Well, it's still a jacket. Like you can call it something different.
No, it's just a utility
That's what it is.
garment. It's only for utility to keep me. You wear this just to keep your body warm.
It's a jacket.
It's a utility heat inducing. You can borrow this for credits and wear it.
Yeah.
I sell it by the minute.
But does it appreciate in value? If
It might. It's possible.
Just a jacket.
But that's not why you should buy it. You shouldn't buy it for the appreciation. You should buy it for the body temperature change.
I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I have an anonymous wallet based in North Korea. Just send your money there. Just send the money.
I have an account there, so it's good.
What do you think about tokenizing funds? We've been hearing about this now. I don't know. You've been pitched hard by some of these companies on doing it?
Yeah.
Explain what it is and explain why you haven't done it.
So just investing in a fund that has liquidity built into it.
Yes.
It boils down to the same stuff, right? I mean, this stuff is regulated ultimately. And, I think the idea of building liquidity into early stage is just always going to be a challenge, right? That's what they care about. Are you taking money from unsophisticated people, investing it in something, and then not really delivering on the promise, or it's not liquid like you thought it would be? It's really a security. You can't sell those securities to those people that don't have accreditation.
But amongst LPs who are accredited, do you like the idea of people being in a Techstars fund? And if you and I were LPs, and I need some liquidity, I sell to you and I just zip a bunch of stuff wallet to wallet.
It sounds great because I think liquidity amongst investors is generally going to be something they want. But I think, again, it comes down to, do you know the other party? Now this other party's, part of the other transaction. I'm getting information about this company that you didn't sell me stock. You don't even know me.
Yeah,
right?
it's weird.
And so you have like this transferability of the asset that can be problematic.
What's the
downstream.
positive spin on it? Why did it capture everybody's imagination for this last year, this last disastrous year where people lost 80% of their dollars? What was the magic?
It's a way for me to tap into startups if I don't know a lot about it, and I can get liquidity anytime I want, theoretically. The biggest problem that we have is in these cryptocurrencies and tokens, people have all this value that's locked up, but they can't actually get liquidity for it. It's the same problem here, right? You're sold something that isn't real, basically, and that's always going to draw the attention of regulators.
Yeah. Hey, let's end on this. Techstars Foundation, tell us what you created and why.
Sure. So about 5 years ago, we created a foundation, which is a nonprofit, as part of Techstars, so sort of beside it. As many companies do, they create foundations. This one is around diversity and inclusion in tech. We put our own money into it at first, but started asking our companies to put a little stock into it. Mentors have been, there's 10,000 mentors around the world that we have in our system now. They've been contributing to it. And we make grants to organizations like the ones you see there, not just of money, but also of network. And so we'll go in and help them build some technology, or we'll help them get distribution or awareness in our network, or we'll show up and help with that cause. So it was just our way of trying to do something. This is something that a lot of people are talking about, and we're not going to solve the problem, but we can help people that are focused on it. So we sort of thought, we're good seed investors. Maybe we could seed some nonprofits, right? Patriot Boot Camp is one I'm really proud of, which directly spun out of Techstars, which helps military veterans and their spouses, right, to start companies. And
Brilliant.
People will tell you, I don't know anyone else in my world that starts a company. Like if you're in the military, you're lonely if you're an entrepreneur. And so just putting them together and giving them some resources, mentorship from our network, some capital to make it happen,
Fantastic.
is just an awesome thing to be involved with.
This has been awesome. It's great to catch up. Give it up for my old friend and tremendous supporter of founders, David Cohen of Techstars.